And right now it's just me. But I hear people coming.
Back.
Hey there.
Hey. I think I might have found... Does it sound any better now? Lower?
No, I have a feeling it's you need a computer reboot or something.
Yeah. I actually just got my new machine. Actually just came yesterday, so this will hopefully all be better next time around. I just got a brand new machine, so...
I just tried using the texture overlay on an image, but it's a triptych. It's pretty large, and I found I couldn't scale it over 1,000%.
Yeah, the built-in textures are a little low resolution, but there are a whole bunch of third-party ones out there that are seamless patterns that are free, and you can make your own textures by just selecting a pattern and choosing Edit Define Pattern, and it'll make a new texture layer that you can store and use.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, Rich, you had said before the show that you had some new technology that you were going to unveil at Photoshop World.
Sure.
People can still see this, so it'd be cool to see it.
Okay. Let me load up a movie, and I'll call that up. I've been working with some colleagues, and we've invented a way to basically share high-resolution images through things like iPads and any device, and it doesn't require any plugins for the end user to view. So I'll play an example of that. And so what I'm going to show you here is basically this is video of 3G connection, and there we go. This is an iPad connected over 3G, and I'm going to connect and load to a image that is it's about a 9-foot panoramic photo at high resolution print, and it dynamically loads and updates in real time as you zoom in. And on a Wi-Fi connection, the zooming is instant, but I want you to see 3G. So I'll play this. I'll turn down the volume. So on the right is the video of my hand touching the iPad, and the left is just the live image of what's happening on the iPad. And so you can zoom in all the way to the 100% level like you were in Photoshop right on an iPad. So you can do things like check critical focus and all those cool things without having to post it. And the image can't be downloaded. It has your metadata attached. You can do all sorts of panning around. You can rotate and move. So things like this, if you want to check critical focus, plus we could set it so your watermark stays up the whole time over the image. You could zoom within the frame if you've got it embedded on a web page, or you could pop it out and move it around on the device. So it's really nice if you're trying to sell prints or you're doing editorial work and you want people to be able to tell when they're making critical selections of your images. But it only loads what's on the screen, and you can't save the whole image in any way.
Do you know, remember that thing called Zoomify? I think it's still in there in Photoshop.
Yep.
Is this like that?
Yes and no. So Zoomify loads like a single image, and it can only do a certain level of magnification. So, Jan, you're familiar with Bert Monroy's work, right?
Yeah.
So like his last big mural that he did. So we just converted his mural for him, and he's looking at it. But he had used Zoomify, and you could only zoom in so far. With our tech, you could zoom in and see the people in the smallest building in the background, and you could see all the detail Bert painted for each individual person inside the window. So Zoomify has a very small maximum zoom level, and there's a cap. And we've been able to remove that, plus ours loads a lot faster and also works on touch devices very, very well. Like most of the new Zoomify doesn't all require Flash, but the Photoshop one requires Flash which doesn't work on mobile phones and tablets.
I see.
So we also have multiple image viewing, so you could do a book, or there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, and the cool thing that I don't want to give too much to, but if you know web tech, our embeddable player will work in an iframe. So you'd have the ability, if you wanted, to share your image to a place like Facebook or Twitter, and the viewer could click and be viewing it full screen, and then they wouldn't have to exit Facebook or Twitter and see it full screen. Yeah, his site right now is using Zoomify.
Here, I'm trying to show it. Can you see it?
That's Zoomify, yeah, and zoom in as far as you can on that.
Okay, so yours obviously is way more sophisticated than this. This was kind of the first crack at things like that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's as far as you can zoom in on that. And so go to the upper left corner where you've got the buildings.
These are all people that we know, right, Rich? Look, there's
Yep.
Russell Brown.
Yeah, yeah. So if you go to the corner there, you see that little building in the background there?
Where?
Right behind, upper left corner. See that building behind the traffic light? Those little windows? Bert has painted individual people in every one of those windows. And we can zoom into
Here?
No, the little tiny one all the way in the back. Go to the right.
To the right, okay.
Go to the right. See that
Here?
building back there? Yeah, we can zoom into the individual window filling up the whole frame. And you
Oh
can
my
see that
God.
there's people in every one of those windows doing things like talking on the phone and watching TV and everything else.
So I can't get in there. This is as far as this thing goes, right?
Yeah, ours, which isn't, he hasn't posted it yet, but you can zoom in all the way to the individual window. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's fun like that. And, so this is Bert's painting is awesome. I love this painting, and you could spend hours looking at every single detail. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Bert, everything you're seeing there is a painting. There's not a single photograph in this. He paints all of this. This was 4 years of painting, I believe. So his work is incredible.
And he means painting in Photoshop. He doesn't mean painting with a brush. This
Right.
is all done from scratch in Photoshop. It's not photographs. So here's Scott Kelby right here.
Yeah.
And this is Julianne Cost. And these really look like these people. That's why I know. This
Yeah.
is quite amazing. Bert Monroy.
Yeah, he's a great artist. You should have him on the show. Yeah, there's Bert right there.
There he is, right there.
Yeah.
The guy
Actually,
who's-
yeah, so it's very funny. So, but
Linda.
so we're just hoping that this will give people confidence sharing their images in high resolution, because when you hit post, it'll work on any social media site, but you've got the ability to keep all of your connections with it. So your business card stays attached to the image with your website, your copyright info, and so you don't have to worry about your images getting out of control.
Cool.
So that'll come out at Photoshop World.
Do you have a booth there?
We do. It's called Picture, P-I-Q-S-U-R-E.
Cool. And are you speaking as well?
Way too much. So, I'm teaching a DSLR video pre-con on Friday. We're going to my studio and we're shooting a commercial for the African Wildlife Foundation. So the Photoshop World attendees are going to work on a real-world public service announcement to help save animals. And then Saturday I'm speaking at the Adobe booth and at Tiffin. Sunday I'm speaking at Tiffin and the Show Floor Theater, and then Monday I'm teaching 3 classes, so it's a busy time.
Well, that's really exciting. Well, will you please tell Scott Kelby that he needs more women speakers? Don't you agree?
Yes, and I will tell you this much: as the list of people wanting to speak at Photoshop World is incredibly long and competitive. They are very nice to their speakers, and it's a wonderful conference with really nice people who attend, and so. There's a very long line of people volunteering to speak. So it's really tough.
The pressure off of you.
Yes. I've been fortunate. I've been doing it for about 8 years. Hopefully I'll keep coming back.
Did any of you guys ever go there or have the chance to go or want to go?
Oh, it's yes.
Never been.
I'll pick the wanna go.
Nope.
If you're on the East Coast, there's free passes to the show floor on Sunday and Monday, and there's easily 15 classes running on the show floor, so you can get a taste of the education. Just take the train down for a day or up for the day if you're on the East Coast, or for that matter, if you could splurge for a $200 airplane ticket, come in the morning and leave in the evening.
So DC is an unusual venue, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually Photoshop World's on the weekdays, but in DC it gets cheap on the weekends because everybody disappears. All the politicians go running home. So, but DC is a beautiful place. It's the most beautiful time to come to DC right now. The cherry blossoms are out. It's 70 degrees. DC has all of, DC is filled with art and culture and museums, and they're free because you've already paid for them with your American tax dollars. So you've got all these great museums and artwork you can go see at no cost.
It's
no
true.
additional cost.
In the old days when I used to be a lawyer, I worked for the FTC, and I lived in Washington, and I went, saw the cherry blossoms every spring, and it was really a nice place to live. I really enjoyed it there. It's just that everything changes every few years, That's the problem with DC.
Well, and the other benefit, when it comes time to go, there will be no day after for me. It'll just be over. So.
That's right. You just go home. No after show.
No. I meant the fact that I meant ground zero as far as targets go.
So, that kind of thing. Don't
that
say
kind
that.
of thing. So.
Well, I thought I'd be okay in Colorado, and then I remembered there's some horrible place in Colorado Springs where they keep all their underground secrets.
Oh,
So
nice.
there's no escaping.
Yeah. I just have to say, Richard, that having you on, I know we thank you in the main show, but I just wanted to point out, I read your About page, and the line that caught me at the end says your personal philosophy is to communicate, motivate, and create. And I think that you've done that tonight here on the show. You've communicated, and you motivated, and you've certainly shown us how to be more creative.
I appreciate that. I think we are very blessed. I'm always amused when I talk to photographers and designers and they get negative about things, because I have family members, and in my line of work, I get to work with a lot of different folks being in video. There's a lot worse jobs to have, and our bad day is so much better than most people's good days. So, it's just let's just have fun. Let's use our tools and our creative abilities to help other people express their ideas or to communicate a message, and that'll inspire other people. And I really think creativity is the key to making a lot of our problems that we have as a society go away. If we could just help people communicate and get them inspired and excited, if people just did what made them happy, we'd have a lot fewer problems in the world. I don't mean from a selfish point of view. I just mean, we'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, I think overall the general tone around the Google Plus photography community has been that sharing of creativity, and we've seen that surge of just a kind of euphoria that's happened because of it for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been really great. I know, Viv, I heard you saying, Vivian, that it was really inspired you when you were talking on somebody else's show the other day.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was running my own website before, but I would definitely say that the last 6 or 7 months that I've been on Google+, just amazing things have happened, and I feel inspired every day by everyone's work, and just interacting with other people who are creative is a really good thing for, I think, anybody who's doing anything remotely creative. Because you kind of don't want to be in that solitary bubble all the time where you're just doing your own work. So I feel like Google Plus has kind of been really great in that respect.
Yeah.
So I just have a question as I'm speaking slightly freely. How many people besides the pictures at the bottom of the page are hearing what I'm saying right now? Or is it only the people who are here that are hanging out and hearing it?
No.
It's still being rebroadcast.
Okay.
You don't have a way to know the exact numbers?
No, that's okay. I'm just good at making sure that I don't say things too freely. As it starts getting into the 11 o'clock hour, my lips get loose. I just want to make sure I don't say anything stupid.
It's getting recorded too, so you don't want it to be for posterity either.
I haven't said anything stupid yet, have I?
Somebody hand the man a drink.
Yeah. The after show's not we're not keeping the recording in the after show, so but
Okay. Okay.
So only the people who are watching right now will know if we really...
Right.
Well, see, this is how I got in trouble over the whole Final Cut 8 thing, was just speaking too freely. So I sometimes forget that the internet is forever, or at least the misinterpretations on the internet are forever, and what people think they heard you say that they talk about you saying goes on forever.
I was just going to share that Beauty Bubble had just done some research because she loves to do that for us. She's one of the people in the chat, and she did mention that we are very privileged because your class at the Photoshop World is sold out, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, we keep it tiny, so we've got about 40 people because we want them to have a good experience. But it's exciting. We're going to be, we've got a real-world project. They're going to make a commercial. Everyone at the class is going to walk out with the footage, and then the nonprofit is going to, people can submit theirs, and the nonprofit will select which one or ones they want to use. And so you'll have the ability to literally go to a conference, get exposed to DSLR video, and walk away with all the pieces, and then cut a commercial that can get used by an international organization and put out there for everyone to see. So I like those type of experiences. I think that, for me, video is a really frustrating and challenging medium for people who are new, but it is definitely one of the most powerful ones. I mean, what we're all doing here could have been done in an internet relay chat room. We could have all been fingering each other back in 1992 and having this chat. But it wouldn't have been nearly as much fun or personable. And just so you guys all understand, finger was the command you typed to understand who was on the other end, and you would get their name and everything else. It's nothing beyond that. That's an old school geek thing. Let me just get that out of the way.
Yeah, and, people still use that.
So, obviously as technology evolves, we have the opportunity for people around the world to chat, and video makes things more personable, more passionate. And I know, Jan, you know this, the power of screencasts. I mean, books are dying. People, not that I don't still enjoy a good book. I like, for me, writing a book is nice because it means that the material has been vetted. I can process it. I can revisit it. Somebody else goes through and clicks on every single step and makes sure that it actually works. And then somebody else goes through and fixes all the grammar errors and polishes it up. And then we look at it. And by the time it's done, it's documentation. It has a record. People could say, oh, I did that step and I got lost. But at the same time, the delay in putting out a book can be a 6 to 9 month effort. You could take that little tip we did tonight and turn it into a YouTube video and just clip that little part out, and 10,000, 50,000 people could have watched it over the next month, and we could have just, taken something that's been in Photoshop for 7 years and suddenly come up with the hottest technique. And I don't mean it from oh, that's cool, just that, people could have had stuff there for years that they never discovered or it never was brought to life for them, and video does that. It makes you feel like, okay, let me watch that again. Okay, I get it. Oh, I want to do that. I could do that. And all of a sudden you're doing it, as opposed to, oh, I don't know if I could do this, and you stop.
No, I agree, and that's why I've put all my personal, my career effort into making video for years. The last book I wrote, I think, was Photoshop CS2.
Yeah. Well, you're smarter than me.
I'm just I go really fast. And I could kind of see it coming, and I think other people did. Linda obviously saw it coming. Lynda.com, before we did any videos there, was a book writing company. And before that, we had live classrooms. So people would fly to Lynda.com. And, it's just a matter of kind of keeping your eye on the new way of delivering things. It's the same sort of material, but in a new, more digestible way. And I totally agree with you that video is a way more approachable and repeatable and learnable medium than a book. However, there is a place for books, too.
Oh, yeah. Like From Still to Motion, which is a book about, a lot of it is about the theory and the design of putting together video projects and the business and the narrative and the storytelling. A book with photos and well laid out that you can thumb through and learn is the right way to learn some of that. There are benefits of having things edited and laid out, but then there are things like software that are often very easy to learn by video for many folks. Not everybody can learn by video. I just think more and more people, as bandwidth gets better, are discovering that video is a great technology.
Okay, so here's what I want to know. Helen, do you have any Photoshop books that are, recent, or do you not buy those?
I've pretty much all the information I have, I've found on the internet. So, no books.
Mm-hmm.
No books at all. No.
You other guys?
Toby training.
Watch it.
Sorry.
I'm kidding you. No, Kelby training is great.
That's NAP and Photoshop user. That's what I get that every month, and I pull what I need out of it, and it's good. Yep.
So that's interesting. I mean, these are all people that actually use Photoshop a lot. I'm not hearing any book. Nobody's raising their hand for books right now.
No, I'm gonna make a comment. I am gonna make a comment about books though, and say this much, which is videos work when you want to go and you know what you're looking for, or you're just doing the stumble approach. The benefit of picking up the Understanding Adobe Photoshop book, for example, is that's the way I taught Photoshop in a college classroom for 4 years. It's a hybrid product. It's got 4 hours of video on it, and it has all the lesson files on a DVD, and it has a book. And if you follow it, it's basically the equivalent of taking a semester-long class in Photoshop with all the multimedia experience in it. That's beneficial because you're going to learn things that you already think you know that you would have skipped otherwise. You never would have searched for a video on the crop tool because you thought you knew the crop tool. You never would have said, I want to go out and understand pixels and dimensions and RGB versus CMYK color space, because you would have thought it didn't affect you. But after reading those pages, it would have filled in holes. So I think video is great as a way to massage a strong career if you're already strong, and it's a great way to discover new things or learn specific techniques. But I think if you really want to build a strong foundation, for many, a good book, not just any book, but a good book that works for you, that's well reviewed, can often lay a much stronger foundation that then you can hang other things on and round it out. But a lot of people, if left to self-teach and discover with the internet, they end up with kind of like Popeye arms, where they've got those giant forearms and no biceps, and they're really good at opening spinach cans, but they can't fit through doors. So there's a couple of issues. So
I agree with the book approach too, and a lot of times what I would find is I'd read over something that maybe didn't pertain to me at that moment, but then I would come back to when I realized I needed it, and it would be right there. So that's when I did used to buy books and have books around, that was a nice thing. I might not understand it, but I didn't move past it. I was looking for something specific, but then I would find a need for that at a later time, and could go back to it in the book. So I still flip through I still have a full library of books and still flip through them when I need to find something. So it's not like they're completely out of my life, but I definitely have moved into the video age with a lot of the learning.
Well, some things, I was sitting here thinking about what you guys were saying. I was thinking, there are some things that I think are better in writing. For example, to try to explain color management. There's a topic where you need something in writing.
So you can read it 7 times.
Right. But there are a number of things like that, and I like to know the underpinnings. Not everybody does. Like, some people don't give a you-know-what about that. They don't care to know. They just want to know, what 5 things do I have to do to get if I'm going to print, to get the print to look like what I saw on the screen. They don't care why. But I like to know.
Yeah.
So I want to read it.
In regards to books, last year or this year, because it's only been out for a year, Scott Kelby's doing that Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It tour. And he was in Toronto, and I went down to that. And you got a small compendium book. And I don't think I've used a book as much as I've gone back to reference that book. It is well used, but it's because it's what stuck in the seminar, the all-day seminar, and it gives me the reference point to remember what he was doing with all the different techniques. He did lighting and comping, and he did it. Obviously he's a master teacher.
You've illustrated the point perfectly, which is, for example, and 2 days at Photoshop World, I could sell 120 copies of the Understanding Adobe Photoshop book, because people will come and see a class and be inspired, and it was brought to life for them. But when they're standing at the bookstore and there's 170 different Photoshop bookshelves on the bookshelf, you don't know which one to pick. You have no point of reference. And I don't mean to say that this book is better than that book, because different people have different styles, but there's a lot of choices and a lot of quality variations out there, and it gets difficult to know which one to pick or which one you want.
That's true. And then by having some anchor, something you've already seen, it gives you a reference point. And you say, oh, I want to know about that particular thing, and you can go right to it rather than trying to search for it. But, yeah.
And it's interesting. There are different ways to teach. There are different ways to learn. I think you're saying a combination is best for you, Ron.
Yeah.
What I am really wondering about lately is what is going to be the next way. There is going to be another way. I don't know what it is.
I have an opinion.
Yeah.
Have you played with iBooks Author yet?
You mean making ebooks?
No, more than ebooks.
Interactive books?
Yes. So I'll show you one.
Okay.
So this one is sitting in the queue waiting to be approved. But Scott Bourne and I did a book on photography. This is just the first chapter. And what we found that was really cool about the platform is all the great things we could do with it. For example, I can have interactive photos. So I can be jumping around pictures and seeing different parts of the images. I'm trying to open it up here. Let me open up this one. So, or here's an example of a book on panoramas that I've done, and I can have, oh, that's going to be rough there. You know, I can have a bunch of my panoramas that you can explore, and you can look at the high-res image, and then you could jump right over to a tutorial on how it was made. And, you know, we've done books like this, so within an iBook, I can have video, I can have quizzes, we have photos where the photographer describes the image, we show video when we're showing you how to set up the camera, you could test your knowledge and get scores, and so unlike all the other mediums, this is giving you everything in one platform. You can see it, you can touch it, you can hear it, you can watch a demonstration. You know, the only thing missing is smell-o-vision. You've got 4 of the 5 senses in the iBook with all of the different learning styles of reading, listening, comprehension, demonstration, testing. It's a beautiful platform, and I got to tell you, with the new high-resolution screens, looking at photography on the iPad 3 is a very pleasant experience.
So I did look at it, and my immediate reaction was, oh, it seems to be template-based. I don't see a way to really customize the templates, and they're so text-heavy, all the templates I saw. Obviously, there is some way to customize them, correct?
Well, I have an unfair advantage, which is this is built on iWork, and I've written the last 3 editions of Apple iWorks book, so I know my way around iWork very well. So this is absolutely customizable if you understand how to do it. And that's on my list of things I'm working on.
Is it kind of a token system or something?
What do you mean by token?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it kind of, I don't know. It's not built into iBook, I guess is what, or iBook Author.
No, it all is. There's lots of ways of customizing by, you can use HTML code, you can use Dash code. That's just emerging, but also just knowing how to properly prep the photos and prep video, and we did a whole bunch of After Effects and motion animations to build those in. So if you just treat it like any other tool, and you say, let me give it a bunch of pieces, and you get out of iBooks Author, then it becomes easy. You edit video in a video program, you build animations in an animation program, you build information, Illustrator graphics in Illustrator. All of a sudden, you know, it's basically as good as a book, as good as a video, as good as a website with interactive learning and live hot links and content that can load in from the web dynamically, except it's all in one package and they never have to leave the experience. And unlike other things, you could just sit there and touch and pinch and move and pan and zoom, and you become immersed in the experience. It's a wonderful thing.
I was actually watching another Hangout last night, and they were discussing the iPad and how the whole, you know, the fact that it's so tactile and so tied to everybody being able to, you know, hold it and look at your pictures and pass it around, that there's something very powerful about that whole experience. So it's kind of interesting to hear your take on it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting where that's going, and you know, that's part of the reason why, you know, on that thing that I was mentioning with the image viewer we were working on that comes out at Photoshop World for the public beta, is, you know, making sure that people can really get in there and react with your images is important. And I also, you know, you want it to be secure, but, you know, we've designed it so, you know, let me just hold up here. I can kind of do this. You know, so if I touch, you know, I can go in there, and it's like, okay, you know, that image loaded. And, you know, if this was a normal website, oh, well, that's not very immersive. Well, okay, I pop it out, and it instantly fills the screen. Oh, I want to see those people down there in the water. I could zoom in, and I'm looking at the people in the individual boat. Let's pop back out. Oh, I want to go over here and show me that monument, that people can explore pictures like they haven't done before, but notice I can't save anything. If I go to Flickr or 500 pixels, I just hold my finger down, and the first choice I get is Save Image. So, we want people to have that ability to explore photos in high resolution and see them, but we want you as the photographer to not have to worry about your crap getting ripped off.
Right.
Very cool.
So good. Yeah.
What about from a business standpoint, Rich? With iBooks, if you do their format, you can only sell it on the iBookstore. Is that correct?
Well, it only works on an iPad, but no, there's 3 formats you can export from iBooks Author. You can export a PDF, and that can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can export a standard non-enhanced EPUB, and that can go anywhere. And the interactive one, that's basically like book as an app, only works on an iPad. So if you're going to sell it, you have to sell it on the iBookstore. If you're going to give it away for free, you could put it wherever you want.
Oh.
So you don't have to distribute to them. Like, I've got a free one on my website already, and I've been doing some other stuff for free with it and just playing with it to learn it. But, and you can distribute free books to the iBookstore too. So you're not limited. And, I mean, you are limited and you're not limited. But, for those who heard the bad things, like people are like, oh, that's terrible, Apple's going to take 30%. Let me tell you, having a publishing partner that only takes 30%, that's a good deal. That's a really good deal. That's about a 7 times better deal than you normally get.
Oh, yeah, I don't think people realize, when you buy the computer book for $50 in the store, guess how much Rich and I get out of that?
About $1.50.
About $1.50 if we're lucky.
I just wanted to, I don't want to take up all your time. I know you had said you have some deadlines to meet, Richard, so you're obligated to.
Right, sorry.
That's okay. Are there any other questions is there a chat room? I don't see a chat room. Are other questions?
From Vidcast is still up, but I haven't seen a
There's
question.
a chat room. We have about 20 people watching.
Hi, people.
Any
I
last
hope we're not boring you. I guess you'd stop watching if we were. So, well, I've got 5 minutes, so is there anything else burning, or we haven't hit that magical time yet, have we, Jan?
I don't know. You have to talk to Keith now. It's his deal.
There's no magical time on the after.
No. I meant the magical time where that stuff that we're waiting for happens.
Oh, no, that time. Hush.
Okay.
What time is it?
Don't
what
go to
time
bed
is it
for
where
a
you
couple.
live?
It's 11 o'clock where I live.
Nope, we haven't.
Okay.
Secrets.
Secrets.
Tell us about your Apple
You'll all be
t-shirt.
happy when you wake up in the morning.
Something about your Apple T-shirt.
Yeah, I want one.
Oh, this? Sorry. This was from working the Apple booth at NAB. I have a couple of, years ago, I worked the Apple booth at a few trade shows as a teaching person. And so I actually have some Apple staff shirts, although I'm not supposed to wear them, so I usually just wear them as undershirts or things. But every once in a while, if you're feeling particularly evil, you wear an Apple staff shirt to an Apple store, and you just stand around and get amused. I usually wear it when I have to go to the Genius Bar just to mess with the geniuses, to sort of offset the power struggle. So it's like if I've made a Genius Bar appointment, I'll wear an Apple staff shirt, and I'll sit down. And they'll look at me confused, and I'll be like, yeah, over there on the bookshelf, of those 4 books, 3 of them are mine. Can you just trust me when I say I've already zapped the PRAM, and I've already repaired permissions? Can we just go to the next step?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I have a ton of those T-shirts, actually, because I used to work at an Apple store. I was a
Yeah.
creative at the Apple store, and I loved those T-shirts. They're really soft cotton. They're really good. And I have a Christmas one and
Yeah.
black ones and blue ones. But I can't wear them, like you said.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to wear them because, they're kind of protective. Although if you want Apple shirts, you can get Apple logo wear, but you have to go to the mothership store right in Cupertino. So my kids have some Apple clothing, and they've got, all sorts. They've got even funny ones, like I visited, my parents went to the mothership and things like that, but you can get these great shirts, and they do have lots of logo wear. So you have it, but, this is going to sound really weird, but like 3 years ago, you can wear an Apple shirt to show support. Now you wear an Apple shirt, and it's like an invitation for people to ask you questions when you're trying to eat a meal or go to the bathroom. I was thinking of getting one of those iPods. I'm in the bathroom. I'm eating. So I've got a whole closet full of Apple clothes that I really just sort of wear around the house when doing yard work now.
I have to confess on the subject of Apple, I waited only one day before I got my iPad. I really tried not to run down there. But it's great. If you guys can afford it, get the one without the 3G, and it makes it a lot cheaper. Because who cares anyway? You know, there's wireless everywhere. Oh, it's amazing.
Actually, I'm going to show you one thing, Jan, that you should like as a Photoshop educator. This is, sorry to pimp, but this is one other variation of that technology. So, like, imagine this is a tutorial, and you're reading a tutorial and you want to see a detail. The fact that you could pinch and zoom in to see the image, or, you know what, I'm talking about this Photoshop dialog box. Let me pop that up and size it. And then as I continue to read the page, I could just pull it down with me on the page. So you'll be able to do things like shop and have multiple images that you've popped out of the page as you're shopping and keep the images online as you want to keep reading. And so you can pull the images out or compare them, and as you keep reading, you can just move the images with you down the page.
Oh, my God. I want it.
Okay, well, good. I told you I've been making websites and doing content on the web since the mid-'90s. I just had one of those moments where I was getting mad at the internet because I do so much with video, and look at how far video has come on the internet in 15 years, right? It's amazing. What we're doing right now, you would have required a live satellite truck with a separate satellite truck at every one of our houses, and we would be paying time to, like, NASA for a satellite time to have this sort of conversation. That was like 6 years ago. Well, nothing has changed with photos on the web since the mid-'90s. Like, we have completely accepted, oh, you embed them in the page, you shrink them down so they load quicker, and you compress them. And I was just like, well, what happens if we don't have to do that? You know, could we do this? And then I found one of my colleagues was a former guy who worked at NASA as a satellite scientist, and his whole job was to figure out how to get images back from satellites faster and high resolutions at his last gig. And they're like, oh, so you used to have to deal with really slow internet connections, like sending back stuff from satellites from outer space to the Earth. So if we had a fast internet connection, what could we do? And we just went from there. And we kind of figured out this idea that, well, why do images have to stay in the page? Why can't you change their size? Why can't you move them? Why can't you decide, oh, you know what, like you mentioned, you know, you're showing this to somebody else, and let's say we're all sitting around a table, you know, why can't I, with that image loaded, you know, have it, pop it out, and then I want to show you, why can't I just touch and, you know, turn it and rotate it and set it over here and look at it that way and see that part? Or then, you know, I want to show you, I could just turn it again and rotate it. So we just kind of said, why do there have to be all these rules? And we redesigned it from scratch. But we've designed it so that the security of the image is in mind, and we've already been contacted by a couple of cool international museums who want to use it to put pictures online so people can view artwork online and use the web without them worrying about people stealing the high-res photos and making prints.
Oh,
so
that's great.
Hopefully, I sincerely mean this, not from the, boy, I'd like to send my kids to a good college, but boy, I'd really like to change the internet and make it better for photographers and painters and image creators so they can get that same experience of if you were in their house looking at their photo hanging on the wall right there on your iPad remotely without them feeling like they're going to be ripped off or have a danger of losing control of their stuff.
So now, you know what, I think this is a great product. So now it's a matter of selling it. So is it just you and this guy, or do you have, you know, people?
It's a company. We have people, and we've already we're looking to license it to other services. So we're hoping that, like, the places like Photo Shelter and SmugMug will integrate it in. We've already talked to some major software companies that might roll it into future versions of products.
Those software companies, right?
We've already been approached by, like, some government agencies that want to use it to transfer secure information. So our feeling is, you know, and we also have it working in an iframe, so we can completely change the way pictures work on Google or on Facebook, so that you could post an image to Facebook and not have to choose a size, and it would load instantly on your phone, but if you were on your computer and you just double tapped, it would fill the screen, and you could pinch and zoom and drag and move around it and look at all the detail.
Yeah, now. We need that right away.
Well, I'm hoping we're unveiling the public beta at Photoshop World, where we're going to be converting a couple thousand images into the format, but then we need to get it. We need to get a couple of these people who've expressed interest rolling it out as part of their commercial service. But you tell me, like, my feeling when I've told some of these folks, like, do any of you use 500 pixels or SmugMug or Photoshop?
I use both.
So if like, let's say SmugMug had this and PhotoShelter didn't, and you were a PhotoShelter customer, would you switch?
Yeah.
I would switch. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm telling them. Then they're like, "Well, we're not sure." I'm like, every photographer we show this to goes, "I want that. I want it now." You know?
Yeah. No, that would be a game breaker for me. I'm with PhotoShelter right now, and I know they're doing huge rollouts this year, so I'm kind of holding on.
Yeah.
But if one of them were to get that feature without the up, I would switch.
So if you can all do me a huge favor, which is if you go to the picture site or my blog, PIQSURE, we'll have stories coming out. There's already been one article, but send it to anybody you know in the industry and say, or if you're a customer, I want this at PhotoShelter. I want this at SmugMug. I mean, we've been keeping a low profile. You guys are literally like the people who are on here tonight are about like the 50th through the 65th person who've seen it. So, but because we had to be kind of careful before we had our code secure of putting it out there too far and wide. But I'm hoping it makes pictures better. I think it could do some cool things.
It would certainly make our browsing much more interactive.
Yeah.
And just the fact that we could have pictures cross-platform that were manipulatable would just be fantastic.
And there's no plugins, so you don't have to install anything to view them. So anybody can see it. You know, and we also have social functions. So if you decided you wanted to make that picture available, you can go ahead and have a download button. If you don't want it available, it doesn't have to be available. You can do things like convert a PDF file into a streaming book. So like if you've ever been out and about on your iPad and you wanted to get a book and you couldn't because it was bigger than 20 megs and you're on cell, you could just go ahead and jump from one page to the next and literally like load up a book, you know, and that's just going through page after page of the book. You know, I double tap, I zoom right in, and I'm reading the text of that page, and I'm just moving around. And the cool thing is you actually end up using less cellular data than you would have to download the whole book, and you're reading it in 5 seconds, as opposed to having to wait 30 minutes for that PDF to download. So since we are now all paying for data, and there's no such thing as unlimited data plans, because the bastards had their way, we can now, you know, we can cut down bandwidth bills for like phones and iPads. So I'm hoping that there's a lot of applications from like the tutorial you saw, shopping, secure images. We got lots of ways it can be used, and I think it's, you know, we designed it with photographers in mind as the principal customer we wanted happy, but we think a lot of people would like it. Like if you were shopping for a TV and you wanted to be able to see the back of the TV, like what are the ports like? You could zoom in and actually see them in life size, you know, or you were shopping for jewelry or shoes and you wanted to be able to see what does that stitching really look like on that surface. To zoom in and see it would make you buy with greater confidence. You'd be like, oh, I really like that little detail, or I like the texture of that shirt. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've bought clothes online and then I'm like, oh, I don't really like that finish, or I don't like that fabric, or I didn't realize it was that shiny. You know, you can't tell from the little pictures. And all those ship it back, and then they give you a refund, but it's annoying. So
I think you've got something there.
All right.
It's a game breaker, definitely. I mean, I really feel like you're very good at presenting the product, obviously, because I'm totally sold at this point. But
I'm not a salesperson, just to be clear.
It definitely is a game breaker. For me, anyway. I think that's definitely like the next wave of where things are heading.
Well, you guys can drop. We're doing a private beta at Photoshop World where we're converting a few people's images, but we are going to be, you know, right now we don't have it like where people can sign up for accounts, but on Friday, if you go to the website, or Saturday, if you go to the picture.com website, PIQSURE website, we're going to have a time-limited public beta sign-up. And what will happen is we'll invite people to sign up, and then much like how Google Plus rolled out slowly, we'll be adding people slowly to it and inviting people to like try out the service and get a couple of photos converted and put it to their website and stuff. So we still have a few months worth of work to get it so it goes from being really cool tech to being something, you know, you could pay $30 a year to have. But, you know, we're not that far away, and we're hoping by showing it at Photoshop World and people getting excited that software companies with much more money and places like all these websites that have photographers as customers are going to go, oh, we've been looking for a way to make our stuff work on an iPad. I mean, I got to tell you, you know, you put a normal website like a photographer's website or Google Plus on an iPad 3 and you look at a photo, it's not a good experience. You're like, wow, that looks terrible. And to have that picture go full screen and see it is great, but I'm right there with you. You don't want your stuff stolen. So if you know that you could fill the screen and it looks beautiful and you don't have to worry about it being stolen, it's great. And you still can control what resolution you post. You give it as high of a resolution as you want, and that's what it takes. So if you don't want it to go over 4,000 pixels, you just don't load up bigger than 4,000 pixels.
Have you considered shopping this to like self-publishing places like Lulu.com and stuff, so that people who are doing their own publishing of books, because they can do the photos and the illustrations all that way too?
We have a major book publisher looking at adopting it as a streaming book model, as a way to get books to cell phones and tablets. So they are big enough that they have their 90-day window to decide if they want to use it and have it exclusively, because they're that big. And so if they say yes, then they'll have it for a little while before other people. But it's not a greed thing. We need one or two big customers to buy it so we can take all of these other things we have. Because we've got the technology that like let's say you had 20 photos on a page. We've got the ability that when you click the slideshow button, it would pull all those photos into a slideshow and go full screen and play them back like an animated slideshow in Lightroom. All the core tech is underneath there. We just need like about another 1 month of engineering hours to finish the process. And, with funding, that could be a week. Without funding, that could be a month.
Yeah. So. This is the kind of tech that's on the edge enough that it's old media versus new media, and the old might not get how really valuable this is. So that's why I was thinking that way.
Yeah, and it's on our mind, and that's why we're showing it at Photoshop World, and we're letting it out into the public is so people see it. But if you just search on Picture, P-I-Q-S-U-R-E, there are a couple of videos we've posted like that so you can see what it does. And, we've been quiet, but, all we did is we leaked 5 videos, and we got contacted by a couple of major international museums and a police department for a very large country that wants the ability to send secure images for forensic scenes to mobile phones without them getting stolen or jacked. And so I'm figuring that there's enough people out there that when we actually start to talk about this on podcasts and forums and blogs, that people will go, oh, wow, that could solve a problem.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as eBooks 2.0. I mean,
yeah. Well, there's better ebooks platforms out there, but this is the fallback. So think of it as a streaming book. You still want to do an Apple iBook with all that interactivity, or you still want a searchable PDF where you can type in a word and it finds it on the page. This doesn't do that, but this is the fallback. So when you're on your mobile phone and you know something that you've already bought or you owned or you're thinking about buying, you can access it in 5 seconds, and it looks just as good as if you're holding it in your hands. That's the fallback. There are better platforms, but those platforms, we just sort of said, let's strip it down to the bare basics and make it work on mobile devices. But it works on a desktop too. I mean, it's not just tablets. It works on computers and web browsers and everything else.
So, Rich, when you showed that interactive book with the Photoshop elements popping up,
yeah.
Do you have to prepare? How would you prepare something for that? Are those JPEGs? Are they PNGs? Or does it not matter?
You just put in any high-res image. Anything that Photoshop can read, pretty much, other than like layers, it can read, and it just processes it, and it spits out a folder with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff in it, because the images are put into it's a lot of little images. Let's just say a big image becomes a lot of little images.
Zoomify did the same thing, gave you billions of little sliced up JPEG things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what ours does is a couple of other things related to it. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, Google Maps works the same way. The core part of the zooming is not unique. What's different is that our algorithm was what like NASA would use to get images from outer space. So ours is a lot faster than everybody else's for streaming. Like Zoomify works great when you let it load for a couple of minutes. Ours is available like instantly. And so
it's unbelievable how quickly the access is on that for the quality. Just that is groundbreaking technology.
Yeah. And that's why we designed it. Like we said, we're going to make this work over cellular data connections, and then if you're on a Wi-Fi signal, it's going to be great. So we just wanted to change it because basically the net kept going under this assumption of data was faster and faster and faster and faster, and we have these infinite pipelines with Wi-Fi, and everyone's forgetting that Wi-Fi is great until all you have is an edge connection, and so or you're on 3G. And so we sort of said, let's go back and reinvent the internet so you can have whatever quality you want, but it's just like video. It's that concept of adaptive streaming. The tech we've designed will automatically match the quality it serves based on the resolution of your screen and your connection to the data speed. So it makes it very easy for you to say, I want more quality, and you just keep dialing it in. But so I don't know. I'm starting to think I'm talking too much, so I apologize. But
No, you're really excited about it. You got something cool. So this is a startup. You need some VC money. You need.
We don't need any VCs. We just need companies that want to use it. So it's already invented and it's ready to roll out. We just need to start getting companies that want to license it and offer it to their customers. Like we don't want to be in the business of PhotoShelter or SmugMug or WordPress. But we think that if you were a WordPress customer, you would want your images this way. Or if you were posting your photos to Facebook, you would want this. We don't need to reinvent. There's already great communities for sharing and viewing photos. We just make that experience 5 times better. So just license it and roll it into your existing community and make all these people who are already giving you money happier. So that's my feeling.
Great idea. Well, thank you for revealing it here.
Sure.
That's really exciting. And yes, we will tell our communities about it.
I just want to give Keith a little bit of a plug.
What's that?
I'm saying I want to give Keith a little bit of a plug because he puts on these shows for us. And he does this out of the goodness of his heart and by his little PayPal donate button. So I just want to remind people that Keith really gives us great opportunity to reach a lot of people with all this stuff. And I just want to remind you all that if you can, if it's possible, to go over and give him a little bit of love on his PayPal.
Thank you.
On the vidcastnetwork.com.
Thank you for putting on the show. It was a lot of fun tonight. I hope people enjoyed it. So
yeah, thank you, everybody. And Keith, you're a saint, really. I so much appreciate you doing this. And Helen, I can't believe you are still awake. What time is it?
You couldn't. It's 5:20, but I couldn't leave. There's no way. It was just too much fun listening to all this.
Hi. All right, well, let's hang out sometime. Do some girl talk. And everybody, Mark, I loved meeting you. You have to come back and show us those animations you've done. I'm very interested to see those. And Vivian, thank you as always. You guys, you know what, Rich? You should go and look at Vivian's and Helen's and Mark's Google+. These are really cool.
Will you post? Do you have everybody listed on the show page?
Yes. Okay,
I will go do that and follow everybody right now.
Okay.
I really need to admit that I'm.
And Ron too.
Oh yeah, I should follow you too, especially with this tech that you're talking about is so exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, very.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm looking at it far more than pictures. It's interactive books. So
Yeah.
It's the next logical step for real-time interactive print media. Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to change the way people do things. I think we'll do that.
And the video is already up on the Vidcast network, by the way.
Oh, good.
Oh, yay. Okay, so you send people now, but that doesn't include this part where he was describing his.
No. This is only for the people.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. But if you go to Vimeo and you look up Picture, Piqsure, you find some of these videos that we've done available that can be embedded. We just made them available to the public. So if you want to put it on a blog or share it, you're welcome to do that. The public sign-up will happen this weekend where you can request a spot in the beta. So we're going to be just like Google Plus and have to roll it out a little bit slowly to start because we don't want to break it immediately. We think if we just said, hey, this is live, we would need like Google class servers once this got around the web and everybody saw it. So we're rolling it out a little bit slowly, but you all heard it first, so you could be first in line for the beta list by just keeping an eye on it over the weekend.
Cool. All right, then. Thank you, everyone.
That was the best 10 minutes in an hour we've had.
It's always like that, right? It's at the end that you find out.
Yeah, I wish you had demonstrated that during the show because that was really awesome.
I'm sorry, it wasn't about Photoshop, so I wanted to respect that.
We'll have to have you back.
All right. Well, you guys, when you wake up in the morning, look under the tree. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Richard, I have a tech show tomorrow. You're welcome to join.
I would love to. And so would Rich.
It's only 35 minutes to midnight here.
Yeah, let me know. I have a house full of people tomorrow. I've got 7 friends coming in for Photoshop World coming in, but if you want to do it next week, I'd be very happy to next week.
Yeah, you just spend 10 minutes just showing that. That would be great.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay.
Good. I've got all of you added to circles. So if you need to reach me, you can now reach me.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna call it a night, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for putting the show together, guys. It's a great program.
It was fun. Nice to talk to you, Rich.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
It was good. Jen, you helped me get a guest for my show.
Helen, it was great to meet you face to face.
First time I've seen you on
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, Jen split. Wow.
She was like, I'm out of here.
She's I think she sees me having quit. That was the most fascinating hour.
It was.
I had been given a private link to that, but I didn't understand how powerful it was until he explained it.
That was amazing.
I so want to participate in the beta, but I can't think of a way that I could leverage that. So I'm just going to have to enjoy it.
Practically science fiction, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's so attainable, and I can't believe that people like Smug Mother, the guys over at Folk Shelter, haven't grabbed it and ran.
Yeah.
It's that way with new things, isn't it?
Well, I think all books should be that way. You should be able to pop out any of the pictures and move them instead of sign and blow them up.
And so, Mark, it looks like we're going to be having you back, too, to show us some of the great comp work and some of the animations you do.
That would be awesome.
Mike figured out.
What's that?
You just have to get that mic issue.
Yeah, well, like I said, by next time, I just got my new machine yesterday, so this should all be taken care of, and actually a lot of my performance issues on here, the stutteriness and stuff will be gone too, because my client actually just bought me a brand new machine, so I have that up and running.
Well, the video has been stable and everything on there. It's just the peaking mic.
Yeah, that's weird because, I'm on Hangouts all the time and never had an issue with it, so it's odd, very odd.
It could be just today. It could be a little. Yeah.
That's true.
Although the interesting thing, because part of the reason I say that is when your mic was on, I could hear it interfering with other people when they were talking, so that tends to say it's a Hangout problem.
That could be.
I just realized Richard invented the iPad version of pop-up books.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. Pop-up books.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, how sweet.
The one.
In fact, they should do that. They should be able to turn it into 3D images and everything. So many things he could do with that.
So the next step for that, Keith, is the holographic.
Yeah, it could be augmented reality pop-up books.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my own.
And I'm glad, Vivian, you were able to have the hangout tonight without all the technical details.
Yeah. I haven't had a problem since that one show when...
You had the phone in?
Yeah, when I had to phone in. I have not had a problem before.
That was on Thomas's and Lotus's, right?
Yeah, that was my suggestion, that she phone in since she wasn't getting in otherwise.
I was so happy that Keith came up with that.
I've done it before, that's how I know.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before where people had the phone in as a last resort.
That was excellent, thank you.
You passed all your problems to me tonight. You passed them to my mic.
I gotta reach in and change your mic settings.
Yeah, I looked everywhere. Everywhere I thought I could find a mic slider for volume. No, I tried 10 different things and nothing. It's odd.
Well, didn't you drop out when? Did you drop out when you didn't share a desktop in this show, did you?
No,
That was Richard only.
Yeah, I started to, but then he came back on, so and then he crashed a couple times trying to do that.
It's Windows, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm all Windows. Yep.
That's all I'll say.
I'm laughing at the chat. I was going to say, Jim said Adobe One Kenobi. Yeah.
Adobe One Kenobi. You know, the Hangout is freezing for me. I'm not seeing those.
Oh, the chat?
Chat?
Yeah, I'm behind. My chat display is behind what you're seeing. It's sad.
Well, mine's working well, I think. In fact, since I installed the new plugin, I've had a much more stable Hangout.
Yeah, I'm running the new plugin as well. Of course, I didn't have the original problem until Thomas had it, but
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Echo, yeah.
and people were asking all during the show, can we post the links? Can we do that? One of the things I want to do on the Vidcast network, I just haven't had time yet, is I want to set up a wiki so that people can maintain program notes for each show that's on the site. So they can do a timeline, they can post the links, it'll be community.
Yeah.
So obviously I'll be begging the community to help with that.
Yes.
All I can do is set up the first page for each show. People have to fill it in.
Well, we really, really appreciate what you do here for us.
Oh, this is my fun. I love doing it.
They're fun too.
So, yeah, I own my first iPad now. I bought an iPad last week. That's a new one though. I bought a the iPad 2 because the prices dropped.
Yeah. My wife keeps telling me I got to get an iPhone, so she's already got an Android, so I think I'll end up going Android on her plan.
And I had enough donations to switch the house to business class broadband because it was like a huge installation fee for that. I would never have been able to afford otherwise. Yeah. And this camera right here is getting replaced with a newer high-deffer one, so I'll look better in the Hangouts too. Yeah.
Mine's an inexpensive high-deffer. It seems to work pretty good though.
I have a Logitech C910 coming.
Yeah, mine's a C210, so it's a little lower than that.
Yeah.
I've got the Orbital, the one that stands up on the stand and has a little ring.
Yeah, I have that one at work.
I like it. I like it because I can put it out in the middle of the screen and then slide the Hangout down, and I can look right into the Hangout and look into the camera at the same time.
It's got face tracking technology, so you can move around. It'll follow your eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
Larry's asking, are we live or is this an archive? What do you want to tell him?
It's an archive.
We're not live, Larry.
Yeah, we're live, Larry.
Or are we?
So the video's already up on the Vidcast network. I haven't done the tweet or the post yet.
This happened last week, though, Keith. We did the show. The show was interesting, and then the after show got incredibly cool. And we have to be recording the after show.
Yeah, well, I do have the video for this. If I get time, maybe I'll just cut the clip out of him demonstrating that.
Yeah,
like I did before.
because that was just so way cool.
And can't you start a new hour or no? Like end that one and then start a new one, or doesn't work like that?
We could. But, well, except I don't want to set a precedent that everybody's starting thinking I'm going to be up for 2 hours for every show.
True.
Set a precedent.
I'm getting to the point where for some of these after shows, as people like to do, I may have to bow out of them, because I have a show coming. On Sundays and Wednesdays, I have 2 shows in a row. So.
Yeah, I think there was a conflict with timings for Sunday's show. I think Jim's going to do it at 9, so he wasn't able to.
Yeah, Jim's not going to do it through me because 10 wasn't good for him, and
he gets up so early.
The hour made a difference.
Yeah.
So he's going to do it himself.
I was kind of on him to stay with that, but he's got his schedule, and I understand that.
Yeah, I'm sad, but that's the direction all the technology is heading anyway, where people can do it themselves.
Yeah.
I
like your
I have a couple of add-on benefits, but I am not necessary for you to rudimentally get your thing.
Yeah. I don't have that technology. I'm surprised I don't have that technology because I either host, panelist, or co-host on 4 shows, and I don't have on anything else.
Well, by the end of the year, I'm assuming everybody will have it.
Yeah.
because they'll roll it out to everyone. I think the bigger problem is not the on-air hangout. It's the YouTube changes and the legal vulnerabilities on that. The people that are rolling it right now, the people who use it right now, have had several warnings about things we have to be careful of. We can't let anybody play copyrighted music. So if somebody joins your hangout and they're playing like copyrighted music, you got to instantly block them or can the hangout. They don't want to see. I mean, YouTube has lots of litigation situations in the first place with people with copyright stuff. So they don't want to add to that and put it in the common person's hands and create content as they are doing that.
That's going to be really difficult to control. You can't control that once you go live.
Yeah, I know. And so I assume you have to realize when a new product rolls out, technology is only a piece of it. There's a process, there's legal, so they have to scale up several things, and it could be that legal could be the big holdup for that, or it could be coming up with the software and the training to peruse and control that.
It's going to come out. It's going to roll out to everybody independent of location.
Eventually, everybody will have it. Yeah. It's not something they're planning to give to a few. It's a beta test right now. That's why it's in the hands of a few.
That's a good question. Jim in the chat said, "Isn't Photoshop copyrighted? So in a sense, All Night was a violation." But you have to know because they want to promote their product.
Well, let's put it this way. I think the biggest blessing was the first Photoshop show that we did is now on Adobe's website as an example of a training program. Because I told Jan about that because I got notified through WordPress of the link back to the video on my site.
Yeah, that was last week's show.
So I found it. Yeah, they spelled the name of the show wrong now. Yeah.
They had to do that. Do you know why? I think because of the copyright name.
Well, they may ask you to change the name of your show. That's very possible.
I warned Jan about that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called it the Photoshop show. I would have called it something else.
Because she's working with them, so.
I would have called it like the post-processing show or the dark room or something. That's what everybody thinks of it as anyway, the dark room.
You probably could call it the post-processing show because, I mean, you guys talk about Lightroom. You cover a lot more.
Photoshop, well, Adobe products.
Yeah, Adobe products.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to survive, if you want longevity, you don't put the word tweet. I mean, you don't put the word Twitter in your name and tweet, and you don't put the word, anything that's brand.
English Big GIMP show. Thanks, Gary.
The GIMP show.
Mark, are you clubbing weasels right now? What's going on?
That's my cat.
No, I mean, I was pounding.
Oh, your keyboard, yeah.
I was being late, but he was on my lap, so I was like tugging around him. So.
It sounds like you're on one of those old manuals.
Ching, ching. I need to get my mic off my desk.
Like Larry suggested in the chat. Larry Anderson said,
Man, your cat wants something.
Okay. Larry Anderson
wants to be thrown outside.
Gotta listen to this one. Larry Anderson says we should call it the product that we can't name show.
That which cannot be named.
Like Harry Potter.
We're getting more people joining now than we did when we had the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the chat's picking up, and now the main show's over.
Yeah. It's because it's the later hour. That's the sad truth, especially with the Pacific Coast.
Yeah, that's true too, because it's only 9:38 over there.
I learned when Hangouts first came out that the most active, popular Hangouts occur at 11 o'clock or later, between 11 and 1. Man!
This is hilarious because all I see is a black screen from Mark, and I hear all that.
Blacking his video, I just muted him. Like, blacking the video is going to help.
You gotta mute when you type, Mark.
I hit the wrong button. I meant to mute my mic, and I hit the your camera.
So now it's even more like you're clubbing weasels.
Now I just need a black screen make noise.
Yeah. The other thing we need to do better on the show, I mentioned this once before, is we have to end it better.
Yeah, it always ends kind of like.
It always ends like. And I try to get everybody to say goodbye and wave, but it's always abrupt. We need to say thanks everybody, goodbye, and not talk about the after hangout until we said our goodbyes and tell people to hang around then. Yeah. Give me a cut place. where the video would end well.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
It'll go into my notes.
Thomas Hawk does an okay job of that. You can always watch what he does.
We do that on Life Through the Lens. We haven't.
Yeah, Life to. Actually, you guys do one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So use yourself as an example.
I should know better. I'm actually writing this down. But you're right that the last couple of shows have ended kind of loosely. So Helen, are you just is that what's going to happen?
Hmm?
Are you just not going to sleep now? You're just.
Yeah, I think the goal.
I'm gonna sleep. I haven't scheduled anything this morning, so I'm gonna sleep.
Oh, good. I have to go back and watch the show. One of the problems about being on the show is that although you're watching it, you're not learning as much because you're watching the chat, and you're watching the other chat, and you're watching the host, and so I have to go back now and watch the video to capture everything that Richard was talking about. There was a lot to cover.
It was just so overwhelming and mesmerizing, and I think all of us were just kind of sitting here like, whoa. Oh.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff he was using, I used, but like you said, Ron, there were some little nuances that I didn't catch that I was like, wait a minute, that he went kind of quickly over that I I don't always don't do that he did in a different way he uses it, and so some of those I was like, wait, what did he do? And I didn't want to ask him to keep going back to anything. So, but no, I like to watch it again as well, just to see some of that.
Was it Jim Herrera mentioned it in the chat room that call it the GIMP show as a joke. But I seriously believe we need a GIMP show.
You know what? You're not far off. We need somebody who is good at GIMP because a lot of people ask about it.
Yeah, I use it. I mean, if you can't afford a couple $100 for a post-processor, that's usually everybody's entry point is that.
I
Especially
used
if you're on
GIMP
Linux.
until a month ago. I used GIMP for everything. So I know a
You
lot of
should
people
call
make
it the
fun of
photo
it,
editing
but,
show or
whatever.
something like that.
Just call it photo editing. We'll cover everything. But
If you're on Linux, your choices are even more limited.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Thank you so much.
See you again.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.
Helen.
It was fun.
Morning.
Good night.
The GIMP show.
The GIMP show. And then everyone who's not a photographer is going to tune in wondering, what the heck is that?
Yeah, you get a strange crowd for that show.
And they're all going to go, there's a free version of this kind of stuff?
Wow.
I don't think I've ever even seen GIMP.
It can do all the same things. In
It's
fact,
just got the worst interface, the most
Yeah,
unfriendly interface ever.
it's everything crammed into one program, and the interface is just how can you get here to here. I mean, so it is a horrible GUI, and you have to memorize where things are. It's not intuitive,
Yeah.
but it can do everything that you need it to do. It even has it has magic wands and things like that. So.
Gotcha.
Oh, just reading the chat room. Okay. I was just wondering, Gary, I guess, Gary, you use GIMP. It says there's one volunteer for the GIMP show.
Well, the trouble is I haven't used it. I use it quickly, for quick 10-minute, 15-minute jobs. So I can't run a show like that.
Yeah. It's a very powerful program. You just need someone who knows the whole program.
Yeah, that's what it is. I probably know the authors, but I don't think they would. I don't know. I can ask that.
Yeah. Yeah, you should ask. Anyway, I have to pop out. My daughter's bothering me because she just got home and you got to talk.
Yep, I got a lot of work tonight to do too.
Yeah, I got to pack up. I'm heading to South Africa in 2 days for 2 weeks, so I got to collect my thoughts and everything. So, what's that?
That must be rough.
Yeah, it's tough. I gotta go to South Africa for 2 weeks. All expenses paid. It's hard. And I'm not taking you, you freak. Shut up over there. Leaving my cat. Actually, I should take him over there and just see what he has to cry about. Come back whining. Don't leave me over there.
Yeah, that's okay. On our show, Carrie Murphy's cat always whines in the background too. So.
I know. Well, he's synonymous in Hangouts for people knowing his whiny tone. So a bunch of people are popping up in the chat, Gary, and stuff. Oh, your cat, because everyone knows what time it is when he comes in.
I gotta go, guys.
I gotta go too. Anyway,
Thanks a lot.
All
Have
right.
a good night.
It was great.
Good night,
Thanks.
guys. All right.